Welcome to Church After Hours, episode 28. This is our season finale, family. And man, this season went by really, really fast. I thought it was a great season. But before we get into all that, my brother and I always start off with our weekly recap. And I'm going to let him go first this week, man. What was your thoughts about episode 27 with our great brothers from Who Made Y'all Priests, talking about African spirituality, Ephi in particular?
Low numbers, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. We know what that means.
Right, but that was to be expected.
Right.
We actually spoke about that during the actual episode, just speaking of how people reject something if it's not something that they're familiar with. Other than that, man, I really enjoyed having the conversation. I really enjoyed, putting the information out there for others to grab if they were interested or if they were, wanting to know more. I'm sure they would go and seek that, and they had those brothers' information.
Absolutely. And I think one thing you said that was so true is low numbers as we look and see. But I feel like that's one of those episodes that will be what they call a slow burn. You'll see the numbers continuously, gradually grow. Because
Sure.
a lot of the information was foreign to a lot of our regular listeners. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So even my mom was like, "Whoa, I'm gonna have to watch that again," because it was a lot. It was a lot to try to process. So even she admitted it, like it was a lot to process. It was heavy information, and not that she was running away from it. It's just sometimes you need to process things multiple times so you can have a better understanding. And I told her when I come in town, we'll sit down and talk about some things because I don't know it all. I know, right. I was learning just like, a lot of the listeners was learning that night. You know what I mean? So you just gonna say something. I see that look on your
face. Yeah. Man, what I thought about was when you said your mother have to go back and watch it. Yeah, the information was that much interesting because it seemed pretty simplistic the way they put it out. The things like nature, ancestors, and divination, like you can understand all that stuff,
right?
And probably the reason we can understand it is because it's something that's already in us,
Right. And when something is already in you and you just haven't, it's just like you a track person, right? You went to college on this track scholarship. You haven't ran track in forever, but you know what it takes to get back to that level. You know what I'm saying? Because it's in you. That's who you are. So a lot of these things is already in us. It's encoded in our DNA. We just have to tap back into it, and it'll be like a kid riding a bike again. You know what I'm saying? When you haven't ridden it for a long time. So check out that episode 27, man. One of my favorite episodes, not only this season, but overall. I felt like it was a necessary conversation, and I'm glad we was able to have it. And hopefully, people will continuously, check it out as they find time.
No doubt.
But let's get into the season finale, man. It's been a great season, a great run. I'm very happy with this show. As y'all can see, we not at Bill Street. Shout out to Bill Street by Shelly and the staff for welcoming us with open arms every Sunday. Our finale, we decided to stay in our respective home locations. But shout out to them for always opening up their doors. It was great scenery, great sound. I love the whole acoustics of the spot. So we go get into the newest and latest favorite segment, and that's Church Parking Lot Gossip. We got a lot of stuff for y'all tonight because we didn't do that last week when we had our brothers on the podcast. So this week, we're going back to Brooklyn, New York, and this time we ain't going to see Barry Bonds. We're going to see Pastor Lamar, Kurt's man. Pastor Lamar.
Wow.
Was locked up. They came and got the brother. The feds came and got him. Kurt, when you seen the story break and you seen they came and got him, what was your first thoughts when you seen what jumped off with our brother Pastor Lamar?
My first thoughts was when you get attention like that, all of your finances have to be legit. You can't have no sketchy material when you are getting that much attention. As a matter of fact, when you get that much attention and you are legit, you gotta make sure your accounting is on point. You know what I mean? So, some say all news is good news or all attention, however they go, but not for all. Not for all.
Not at all. When I saw the story, I was just like, I felt like it was the setup, as flashy and as loud and bold as he was. I felt like they was waiting for the right opportunity to try to go at that brother because, like as Kurt said, man, the brother was very flashy. He was very outgoing, very boisterous. He's out on bail right now. He's going at rappers right now. You know what I'm saying?
Is that right?
Uncle Murder put him in the year and wrapped up, and he already been challenged Uncle Murder to a boxing match for pay-per-view to raise money for the church and everything. So,
I saw that. Well, he probably needs to raise money for his legal defense.
Right. So dude told me I needed to get this money for the church. Like, no, like you said, you need that money for the legal defense. So hopefully the brother learned this lesson, man. And
it was the feds, right?
It was the feds. It wasn't the New York PD. It was the feds. So you know when they come, they pretty much got everything together to get you. You know what I mean?
Right.
And before we move into the next story, man, hopefully this is the lesson to those people that, you know, as my uncle would say, man, he would always say this, rest in peace, Uncle Dave. He said, man, a lot of these preachers, man, he said they play with God too much. They got more nerves than the astronaut. You know what I'm saying? Like for an astronaut to try to go into space, you know what I'm saying, not knowing he gonna come back. And he said that's how a lot of these preachers are. They play with the Lord too much, man. They play with God too much, man. So hopefully that'll be a lesson to a lot of these young preachers, man. And stop playing around, man, for real.
Yeah.
Moving quite along. This was something that annoyed the heck out of me, man.
What is that, my brother?
This is the brother. I forget what church he was at, where he was at, but he went viral. As everybody know, right around Thanksgiving, right into Christmas, the song Yams had took off. Charlie Wilson was singing it. It was a challenge. Tank was singing. A bunch of R&B cats were singing it. So this preacher had the bright idea to go to church and have his minister music. And my one dude was like, he probably sat at the crib and seen the challenge. Like, I'm going to do this in church. Like, this going to be live. You know what I'm saying? He came with a Yams challenge in church and call it the Yahweh challenge, where he was saying, can I get to Yahweh? And I was just like, why do we do this stuff, man? Why do we have to take secular stuff and make it and try to make it spiritual or holy? Because I'll say this and I'll let you go. Myself, Barry wasn't there. Well, he was a part of it, but he didn't show up. We sang in my church in Chicago, and we took R. Kelly's 12 play song and made it into 12 praise. You know what I'm saying? Like we was doing that stuff back in the 90s as little kids, and I'm seeing this 50-plus-year-old man taking Yams and trying to make it a church song. Talk about why these cats keep doing this stuff, Kurt. It's like they just want to be a part of the world so bad and not set themselves aside.
Well, you know what? I totally agree that they want to be a part of the world, but how else, not being part of the world and doing worldly things in that sense, but how else do you get some of these young folks' attention? So I don't necessarily blame them, brother. I don't necessarily blame them, because even, you know, grown people spend a lot of time on social media. Yeah. You know, so in the eyes of the pastor in the church, you've got to do something to quote unquote, you know, win these souls.
Yeah, and I guess everybody is trying to go viral. I mean, you have pages on Instagram.
Oh, they definitely trying to go viral. they definitely trying to go. Yeah, because you know that helps everything. Yeah, it helps everything. You know,
like you said, all attention is good attention, whether it's bad or good. Like you just said in the last segment. For them,
not for Pastor Lamar.
Not for Pastor Lamar. He learned the hard way. But man, I seen that Yams challenge, and the dude was just so animated. If y'all haven't seen that, man, go check it out, man. If you want to. But moving quite along, we gonna stay with the church, and we go into our denomination. We grew up in the Baptist church, and this segment, I mean, this article talked about a Baptist brawl, and I read the article first, and then I went and seen it. My coworker sent it to me because we stay on Church of Laugh. We like to laugh and stuff like this. I read the article and I went and looked at it, and it was an installation of a new pastor. Anybody that know how a Baptist church works, the people elect a pastor like you elect a public official, whether it's your senator, alderman, you know, mayor, whatever. And this person got elected, and then they felt that the election was improper, like it was some tampering with votes, and you know what I'm saying? Dude came to the church and started, raising up some dust and had smoke in the city. And these cats is in the church brawling, you know what I'm saying, about who's going to be the elected new pastor of this particular Baptist church. It was another crazy story and something that went viral. You know what I mean? Did you? I know you saw it because I sent it to you, man. What was your initial thoughts when you saw that?
Man, my initial thoughts was these collection plates must be full in this church, boy. I mean, to go to fisticuffs
Fisticuffs.
about, who's gonna be the next pastor. But I did see that there was some foolery. It was a meeting called and certain
Right.
members didn't show up or
Right.
something like that.
Yeah.
But all I know is that's not of, God. That's not
Not
of
at all.
God.
Not at all.
No, nobody should be getting physical. Matter of fact, we should be, giving people grace and mercy. So that was just an unfortunate thing.
Absolutely. And I remember about 15 years ago, my godfather passed, and they had to vote who's going to be the new pastor of our home church, whether it's going to be his son or the person that was like the assistant at that time, was one of the associates at that time, and it didn't go to his son. It went to the other brother, and the church pretty much ended up splitting up. Half the people stayed there, and the other half left with him. He went and took an assistant pastor position. Now he's a pastor now. So it just made me think about how a lot of times people have a lot of stuff invested in these types of scenarios. If this person becomes the pastor, is he going to push my agenda? Is he going to, allow me to do my programming and my ministries and all these different types of things? So it's just unfortunate that young people see that.
Where's God in all of that?
Exactly. It's just unfortunate to see the foolishness take place, and you set a bad example for young people to see that, and just it's a bad representation of God, because we know God is not in that type of foolishness.
Sure. Right.
And I think about when Jesus came in the temple and was turning stuff over, those are the type of people he was trying to, get together and get them back on the right path, because they was wilding out.
Right.
But let's go into our main subject tonight. And this is something that happened about a month ago, 3 weeks to a month ago, and things kind of died down. And I said, we got to talk about this. Just like with the Deion Sanders thing, I didn't want to go in depth right away. I kind of just let the dust settle. And I feel like the dust has settled on this a little bit, and I want to hear what people have to say. So people, please be in the comments. We can start a dialogue there. I would love to hear your thoughts about it, because this is something that was a lightning rod in the church community, and it went into mainstream media. And that's Pastor Jamal Harrison Bryant, who took over Eddie Long's old church, New Birth, down in Atlanta.
Oh, yeah.
And one thing I didn't know, he was on a podcast with Sister Ali. I forget her first name. Chocolate Sister, really, really good. She used to be on the show on TV One, but I forget her first name. One thing that I found out on the podcast is that Jamal was talking about how New Birth Baptist Church down in Atlanta has more land than any black church in America, and how something that he was going to potentially start working on is using that land for agriculture, raising produce, things of that nature, that way parishioners can have food, but also having a certain section of that land for cannabis. And it sent shockwaves through the world, especially through the black church. So before we dig in, Kurt, what was your initial thoughts when you heard the clip? Because of course I heard the clip. I was like, wow, this is about to go viral. And then I went back and watched her whole podcast. What was your initial thoughts when you saw Jamal make those statements about growing cannabis and bringing young brothers in and teaching them agriculture?
First thing I thought was, kudos to him for to me getting it, because one thing that, we will do, I'm not even going to say as a people, I'm going to say as a culture, because there were people that I feel were outside of what we call our people that was commenting on him because they were in the church. It was, I think, Southern Baptist Church more specifically, not just church. So I want to say kudos to him for stepping out, on that, because a lot of times in our culture, we don't understand that, someone will do all that hoopla, but what they'll do is a lot, their cousin, a part of the land, you know, and sell it to him, and then he'll do the agriculture. You
Right,
know,
right.
it's a lot of people. You know, we have been locked up tremendously for marijuana, but we are minuscule when it comes to the agriculture right now for, you know, legal, you know, and prescription
Yeah, medical use.
marijuana,
Yeah.
medical use. So I like that idea, and if you have to use that opportunity further, what he was talking about, to get some of them brothers in the church, I don't understand. You know what the problem is here, because there's so many other things going on. You know, and I've seen this one pastor carrying on, and he was talking about how bad this is doing. No, prescription drugs
Right.
and you know, fentanyl
There
and
we go.
heroin is
Talk
what's
about it.
doing the damage.
Right.
Stop playing these games. That's
Stop
what I
playing.
thought after. Now, I'm sorry, I'm going too far, because I'm talking about the reaction. But when I first heard this brother, I was happy to hear him say that.
Yeah. And just to kind of pick back up where you left off, stop playing these games. These people are playing games. Like, I've seen
Oh
several
yeah,
pastors, one white pastor, I forget his name.
that's who I'm talking
He
about.
was
That's who I'm
condemning
talking about.
Jamal. This is
Yeah,
of the devil. This is
goofy,
Satan, and
goofy.
this is horrible. And then the one
Right,
preacher who we had in church parking lot gospel at the beginning of the season that went at Beyonce, he had something to say about Jamal,
right,
saying that
right.
this was sacrilege and this was horrible. He shouldn't be doing this, that, and the third. And these are the same people. Like, when I really got into herbs and started studying herbs and how we can heal ourselves with the foods we eat, with the things we drink, and the herbs that we can put in our bodies and consume and can help heal us, I started looking at the world totally different. Now, all these same people who are condemning Jamal, I guarantee you, they take some form of aspirin, Tylenol, diabetes medication, all of these things,
Tearing their stomach lining up.
tearing their stomach lining up, overtaxing and overworking their kidneys and their liver, which are organs that basically funnel things out of the body, as far as, you know, making sure that we don't get sick. Like, it takes what it needs, and anything else it gets rid of. And when you take a lot of these synthetic drugs, that's what it does. It overworks the liver and the kidney. So I'm looking at all these people like, the vast majority of y'all is taking some type of over-the-counter medication, but yet you guys are upset that this brother is potentially, didn't even say it's going to happen. It says something he will potentially want to do, potentially using cannabis as a way to bring money to the church and to get young men off the streets in Atlanta and give them agriculture. I mean, he could be raising up the next George Washington Carver. We know how great that brother was and the work that he did, and how, you know, he's responsible for a lot of the things that's in our refrigerators right now. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I just like, and this is from a person that don't even smoke. I smoked more weed than the law allowed back in the day when it was illegal, but I'm just like, y'all missing the boat. You know what I'm saying? Like stuff like this. Stuff like this. This is CBD oil that you put and rub on your body if you have aches and pains. You know what I'm saying? This stuff actually works. I have elders in my family that take this. I've given it to them. My sister-in-law, you know, works with the guy that created this, and we give it to people to try to help heal them. So when I hear people just speak, you know what I'm saying, loud and wrong, it just baffles me, man.
Yeah. And are they that convicted about cigarettes?
Talk about it.
You know, because, or alcohol.
Oh, alcohol. That's right. That's right.
You know, is just because it's, you know, legal where you are, is that the answer? Because you know, the cannabis is legal in a lot of places.
Yes.
So for him to get attacked like that, I thought was kind of ignorant, you know, and just not having the facts. I thought it was very, you know, it's funny that at the same time these people are trying to keep people in their churches, and maybe these are some of the people that their churches are full, so they felt necessary to say it. But, you know, for other people that may not be experiencing the same type of abundance of members, I just think it's ironic that you're trying to get people in and you're struggling to figure out how to, but yet you want to criticize somebody else that's trying to, you know, get those people through the door.
Exactly. And the main thing that he said was young black men. That was his target. You know what I mean? That was his target.
Oh,
And
and one more other thing about
yes,
that.
yes.
Man, if you can produce it and regulate some of maybe the THC that, you know, that may be, you know, too strong, and produce some things that, you know, will be more productive for some of these guys, you know, that would be good too.
Absolutely. And another thing that when I thought about this was the Bible talks about obeying the law of the land. And back in the day,
Right.
oh, don't smoke weed, it's against the law. So you
Sure.
you automatically out of pocket with God. Well, like you just
Sure.
said, it's legal in most places now. So
Right.
technically you're not breaking the law. But more importantly, the Bible also talks about the herbs being for the healing of the nation. And we've seen report after report after report, whether put it on topically, as I showed here. I don't really endorse smoking it because any type of smoke for the lungs is bad. That's a known fact. But eating it, drinking it, and tinctures and teas, we've seen. We can put up article after article after article where it has helped. One person is the brother that played for the Pacers. He created the Viola brand. What's the brother's name, man? He played with Artest and them. Not Jermaine O'Neal.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I can't think of his name either.
It'll come to me in a minute.
Talking about.
But his grandmother had glaucoma, and she was a Bible believing woman that stood on the word of God, and it was Jesus and nothing else. And one day he begged her, and she finally tried it and cleared her glaucoma up. And now this woman is still alive. She still can see. And cannabis actually healed her and changed her life. So, and when we speak out of ignorance, sometimes we block ourselves from blessings that's set up for us, and we don't even give ourselves the opportunity to receive them because we speak out of ignorance. So hopefully people will circle back and look at this as maybe not being as bad as what Brother Jamal was trying to do. Because I know they love attacking Jamal, and he's done some things that I thought was kind of goofy, but on this one, I had to rock with the brother.
I have to.
Al Harrington is the brother's name. Al Harrington.
Absolutely, Al Harrington. I would take a guess that Brother Jamal will ignore these people because I'm not gonna say none of them, but most likely they're not in Atlanta,
right?
And they're not faced with the same, you know, issues that they're faced with there. So, and I would love him to, you know, get some of them brothers doing something positive down there, man.
Absolutely, because it's much needed. It's a lot going on in Atlanta, and it's a lot of brothers that could use you know, some other elder brothers to kind of steer them in the right direction, man. So we'll be keeping our eye on Jamal and what he does with that, and it could potentially be back on the show in season 3, you know, coming real soon. But as we get ready to, you know, close it out, we got the message. But before we get into the message, this is a story that we've all been contemplating telling. You know what I'm saying? Names won't be used, but
let's hear it. Let's hear what you got, brother.
It was a fun story, a funny story, and I can look back on it now as a full-grown adult, and it's like, man, we was really immature. We was really clowning at this particular moment. And this is what I'm going to call, and my brother, Barry, I think Ant was even in town because he had moved to Milwaukee at this time, but I know Barry, my brother, Kurt, of course, and Roger was there. Roger was there. And this is called the woowhip story.
Oh.
So this is summer, I want to say 94, 95.
I'm thinking 94, 95. Yeah. Maybe 95.
Maybe 95 the year I graduated. Me and Barry graduated. Maybe 95. So make a long story short, it's Black Family Reunion. Anybody in Cincinnati know two of the most jumpingest weekends back in the 90s in Cincinnati was Jazz Fest weekend and Black Family Reunion weekend. So we like, yo, we finna go down to Black Family Reunion. It's gonna be some young ladies down there. We about to go do our thing, this, that, and the third. And my cousin Marcus from Chicago just so happened to be down with us. So Roger, come pick us up in the woowhip. The woowhip is a Volkswagen minivan. And we
they called it a bus.
The bus,
they called
exactly.
it a bus, but yeah,
exactly.
We'll put it up. You know, you see it right there.
Yeah, it was a Volkswagen minivan, and we would all be in this joint, roomy, stretched out, had our space. So we on our way down, leaving my people's crib. to go to the Black Family Reunion. So we down there just kicking it, having a good time, stay down there for several hours. Well, my brother and Kurt had beef with this particular young cat that we saw down there. So I'm thinking like, man, this little dude, like we can't run down on him, man. It's him and I think one or two of his little guys. So we see them down there, kind of avoid them, and we get back out to where we live at, which is out in Fairfield at the time. And we going by one of our sister's house, who actually stays down the street from Kurt. And I think it was my brother. I can't say who it was. It's like, man, let's kidnap this fool. So we riding down one of the planets. I forget one of the name. Planet. One of the, the whole section of Fairfield was named after different planets. So we ride down the street. We grab the little man, throw him in the woo whip, body him up real good, get down to Camelot and kind of dump dude out and keep rolling. So I was just like, why do we do that? You know what I'm saying? Like what was the purpose of us doing that? You know what I'm saying? And I never seen that young brother really after that, maybe once or twice after that. And I felt bad. Like if I see him now, I would apologize to the young dude, man, because it was very immature and it was silly. But again, we was just young and wild and just acting a fool, man, out of control, man.
Yeah, I think you missed the part at the Black Family Reunion when Marcus caught him and
I did miss that part. Go ahead.
Had one hand on one face and then gave him the smack. Yeah, we really tormented that brother, and that was just one of those things that we was young and dumb. I think it really started over some girls and him dirty macking, as we call it. You know what I'm saying? Singing them Joe songs, you know what I'm saying? Your man can't do it like I can, or
right.
LL Cool J had a run too, where he made a bunch of them dirty macking songs too.
Exactly.
But yeah, that's what the dude was on, and we really took offense to that. I think we took it a little, harder than it should have been, because I know, man, when we caught the dude, matter of fact, he was with somebody else when we pulled up in the Volkswagen bus, which we called the woo whip, and the other dude got away. He felt
he did get away.
He was hopping fences. I'm like, damn, that boy was fast, boy. Hey, but yeah, that was something that could have turned out really bad, because if those brothers really would have wanted to get the police involved, man, that could have turned out real
charges.
Bad. Yeah, for sure. Matter of fact, have you checked the statute of limitations on kidnapping, brother?
Yeah. We that was 95. Hopefully that brother don't see this and be tormented, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But we gonna get to the message, and then we gonna close it down and have our final remarks and close out season 2 of Church After Hours. And I had to go to wifey's home country, and I went and got a Liberian proverb. And this says, looking up, the tallest and the shortest person will see the sky at the same time.
Yes.
Looking up, the tallest and the shortest person will see the sky at the same time. When you hear that, Kurt, what does that make you think of?
And it just makes me think of, respecting one another, because no matter how big or small you are, we're all going the same place. Mm-hmm. We all, see the same things. Some of the things that we accumulate, really don't mean as much, to when, it's that time to go, man. So it just makes me think of everybody, just really being equal, and treating people as such.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly. Basically, even though you might be a little shorter than me, a little darker than me, a little lighter than me, whatever, we all are God's children on this planet, and we all have access to the same amount of opportunities. You know what I mean? I'm not better than you. You're not better than me. And I think that's something that, again, if we all could adopt those qualities and adopt that way of thinking, our world will be a much better place and really a super dope place to live, because a lot of times you see people judging people on their stature in life. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Whether you're at a certain level.
That's the American way, baby.
That's the American way. Exactly. So
Ugly.
people is ugly, exactly as
Like
Nas said.
Nas said.
Exactly. So people utilize those things to look down on people and to, you know, kind of look over them and look down, and it's not cool, man. So hopefully people would change, man. But we've come to the end, man. This is the end of season 2 of Church After Hours, man. Before we wrap it up, Kurt, man, what's your thoughts on this season, man? And what's your thoughts on this upcoming new season that's going to be dropping in a few months?
We covered a lot of things this season. We tapped in to some spirituality. I think, you know, we made some big strides as far as the numbers,
Yeah.
as far as the numbers of our videos, our views, got on some good topics. I think your cousins from Jackson, Mississippi's was the highest views we had this season. You know, some high points talking about, you know, Dion and some things going on in the news. I'm kind of salty that we didn't get a chance to talk about the situation going on between Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe.
Let's do it.
What I mean? Because I know a lot of people. That's a real big topic right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's a real big topic right now. I know your pops loves that show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, like you said, let's do it, man. You know, dude gave a real insensitive tweet. You know, something that should not have surprised anybody because, you know, in a world where, you know, sports is, you know, dominated, you know, by us, you know, in the 80 and more percentiles, this guy always picks out, you know, that good old white guy, you know what I mean? Whether it be Tom Brady that actually has the, you know, stature for him to, you know, hype up, or it's
Baker Mayfield.
Yeah. So, you know, then if it's not, you know, Baker Mayfield, you know, he's just, you know, always hyping up the you know, the same looking guy. So we know who he is. We know what he's about. But I think we just need to start and stop. We need to start, you know, turning, you know, attention from these guys, you know, and stop giving these guys numbers on their shows to keep being able to do this. I have a feeling that, you know, Shannon Sharpe is going to be able to make a pivot from this guy, and you know, because I think he has a bigger following at this point.
He does.
This guy's just scum, man. He's just a sucker, man.
Yeah, and you're totally correct. I used to watch the show, especially in its origins. You know, when Skip left ESPN and went to Fox, and I always like Shannon take on a lot of things. But here's my take on the whole situation. This started a month ago, or really about 2-3 weeks ago, or whenever it was, when Skip tried to disrespect Shannon and kind of act like he wasn't a Hall of Famer. Because Shannon was being honest and saying, hey, Tom Brady might be the GOAT, but he's having one of the worst seasons of any quarterback in the league right now. And that's a fact. And, you know, Shannon was just being honest. And he's like, well, you can't hold this jockstrap and this, that. And then Shannon like, look, man, I got 3 Super Bowl rings. I'm a Hall of Famer, one of the best tight ends ever. Who are you to tell me I can't have an opinion? So that's where it started. And then it spilled over, you know, when our brother DeMar Hamlin, you know, had this horrific injury in Monday Night Football.
In
Cincinnati, right. And I think this is going to be the straw that breaks the camel back. And Jason Whitlock, a person I normally don't agree with that much, but I agree with him more often than ever before. But one thing he said is the people at Fox Sports, like Fox News, they love that entertainment aspect of broadcasting because it brings views. So when Skip and Shannon are going at each other and it gets a little heated, they don't mind that. They want that. You know what I'm saying? They want to drive that drama because they want to drive those views to their YouTube pages, to the television show, so on and so forth. So they want to bring that kind of hip hop battle rap element into sports broadcast, and that's exactly what is happening right now. And like you said, Shannon at this point has the bigger profile, the bigger following. Hopefully he can pivot and do his own thing, because I love his Shay Shay podcast. I love the guests he have on, and he's a great interviewer. So hopefully he can do that and then, parlay that into something different. But I think it's time to divorce Skip and get away from Skip, because this man has made a living of praising Michael Jordan and then bringing LeBron James down at the same time. And it's like, how can you do that? LeBron is just as good as Mike. How can you even bring him down? It's awful.
For us, a lot of us fall into it, and it's that divide and conquer.
That divide and conquer game.
But I also would be interested in peeling back some of these pages of that contract that Shannon is in, because he didn't show up that first day.
Yeah.
But that second day he was there.
He was there.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then and then for him to call out about that tweet, and then for old Skip to react, I thought you weren't going to bring that up.
We weren't going to talk about that, right?
What's really going on? You know what I mean?
And then we got to be smart too. I think Shannon observed that situation Monday different than the average person. His brother Sterling Sharpe ended his career like that with a neck injury. He was laid on the field like that. So I'm sure that brought up a whole bunch of feelings of what happened to his brother. I'm sure they talked on the phone. So to hear your partner and coworker say something like that and then try to bring it back and still not apologize, still not take the tweet down when, brothers have said less. And I put that on social media. Brothers have said less and went on an apology tour. So even though Skip was wrong, he stood on what he said. You know what I'm saying? He didn't back down.
Well, when it comes to us, you know what I mean? We know what happens.
Right.
We don't have to say, look. But, I think this was important because people have been outside of that UC Medical Center praying for this brother heavily. And he opened his eyes and he started speaking. So things are looking up.
Absolutely.
Man, at this part of the season when we're on the brink of playoffs, here in about an hour, the last game of the season, the regular season is about to start. We just want to ask them ancestors that them brothers who made y'all priests was referring to ancestors. Please watch and take care of these brothers as they out here, doing this gladiator sport.
Absolutely. All for our entertainment. You know what I'm saying? All for our entertainment. So, man, great segment, Kurt, man. Great season. I love this season. I can't wait to get into season 3. We have some announcements that we'll make because the season 3 will be a little bit different than this one, just like 2 was different from 1, trying to reinvent ourselves and give you guys something different. But we'll talk about that later on down the line as we get ready to prepare for y'all. So I appreciate y'all, man. Keep rocking with us, and we'll see y'all in a few months, man. Peace and blessings.
Peace.